in this Abuja, there are bills. There are bills. There is water bill, there is light bill, there is debt bill. Hello, people of the red streets of YouTube. My name is Aimee. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Please ignore the video bummer. Focus on me. Hi guys, welcome to the channel. It's your girl once again. My name is Aimee. Just in case you're here for the first time, you're welcome. And if you're an existing subscriber, I just want to say thank you so much for sticking around. First off, I need to apologize that I'm sitting on the bed because guys, I'm tired. I tried to make this video yesterday and I think I tried like up to 3 times, and each time I tried it just kept something just kept going wrong. Was either I was filming and it wasn't actually filming, like I was recording but it just wasn't. You get the point. I could not record yesterday as I was trying to record. All my effort yesterday was wasted. So I just decided that today I'll stay on the bed and film this video. Yes. So please pardon me for sitting on the bed as I talk to you. Please bear with me. So, and apart from that, I just want this video to be really, laid back. I just want us to talk. Do you understand? In today's video, I'm just going to be talking a little bit about my room tour. As you guys know, I recently moved out of my old apartment onto a new one. I don't know if I'm going to show you guys the new apartment. If I do, fine. If I don't, fine. Okay, first of all, I want to talk about why I moved out of my old apartment. I came into Abuja in October of 2020. I actually came in here because I actually moved to Abuja because of my internship. So I came to intern in Abuja for about 1 year. That was what actually brought me to Abuja, right? So when I came to Abuja, I didn't come with a lot of things. I just came with my luggage and I was new here. I didn't have family here. I didn't really know anybody, so I just came in with my box. When I got the apartment, it was okay for me at the time. Although it was small, but it didn't seem small at the time because obviously I just came with my luggage. When I saw this particular apartment where I lived, I just felt like it was the perfect thing. But about 6 months down the line, no, less than 6 months down the line, when I started to acquire some things, to buy things in the room, I just realized that the room became so small. Especially when um my mattress got into the room. Like the kind of mattress I got a very large mattress, and immediately the mattress got into my room. It occupied a lot of space. At that point, I just knew that I had to move as soon as I'm able to. Like, okay, maybe after a year after staying in the house, I would need to move. I just had that somewhere at the back of my mind. Another reason why I moved out of that apartment was that, okay, usually when you just, I think this happens for a lot of people, when you just move into an apartment, especially if you're not the first to live in that apartment. What I mean by that is, if other persons have lived in that particular room or house before, when you move in as maybe this third person or the fourth person that would live in that house, you're most likely going to renovate the house. Not in all cases, but most of the time. I like to think that most of the time you would need to renovate the house depending on the owners of the house, what they are willing to do or not. In my own case, when I moved into the house, I had to renovate the house. I had to renovate the room rather. I had to renovate the room for a lot of reasons. One of the reasons I had to renovate the room was that, I don't know if you know that thing that happens to houses when the wall is soaked, like the wall gets soaked and then you start to notice that the paint begin to fall off from the walls. So that was exactly what happened in that room. When I saw the house, first of all, there were a lot of cracks in the wall, and then you had this soaked thing that I just explained now also on the wall. So I didn't have an option. I had to, it was either I moved in like that or I renovated the house. So I just chose to renovate the house because at the time I was already thinking, okay, I think I would want to start YouTube. So I already had that somewhere in my head that I would need to start YouTube. So I would need like a very aesthetically pleasing environment to shoot my videos. So I decided that I was going to, touch up the room and do a couple of things in the room. I got someone like a mason to plaster the room and then to paint the room again, and then just do a couple of things in the room before I actually moved into the house. When I was doing that in my mind, I what I saw was, okay, at least this renovation that I'm doing now should last me plus or minus 1 year. So if after 1 year I'm moving out of this house, this place will still be, it will serve me for up to a year. Fast forward to about 4 to 6 months after I'd moved into the house and I'd been living in the house, guys, guess what? There was this long crack that showed up in on the wall one day. Like it didn't come out one day, but I just noticed it on one particular day. There was a crack from the top of the wall down to the bottom, and then I started noticing that soaked thing again started appearing on the wall. So the painting began to fade off, some parts began to fade, then some other parts began to peel. Like, it was so annoying and I felt so terrible. This was something that when I was renovating in my head, I felt that it should last for about a year, but it didn't happen. So that was one of the reasons why I just knew that as soon as my rent is due, I'm moving out of this house. So that's one of the reasons again why I had to move out of the house, because it wasn't aesthetically pleasing to me anymore. And I like fine things, I like beautiful things, everything around me has to be beautiful. So that I was seeing wasn't beautiful to me, and it didn't make sense to me to start to renovate the house again when I can move on to another house. So I just felt, come on, I'm moving out. Another reason why I moved out of my apartment was because it still goes back to, I don't know if I should add it to renovation. It's not exactly renovation, but there was something that was wrong with that house. Was that when it rained, because there's a way the door was designed. So it was designed in such a way that when it rains, water moves from outside down. Like, it was sort of slopey, so water moves from outside into my room. So guys, whenever I was not at home and it rained, my room would be flooded. Like, it was so annoying. There was one particular day that it was raining. I came back from work. That day and I was so tired and I just slept. In the middle of the night it rained. I didn't even bother myself. It rained so heavily that when I woke up the next morning, I knew when it was raining, but I just was too tired to get up to even see what was going on. When I woke up the next morning, my whole room was flooded. And it was very annoying. So it was on that day I made the decision that whether the devil likes it or yes, I'm moving out of this house once my rent is due. Do you understand? So that was one of the things. So whenever it rained, my room would become flooded. Like, the only way to prevent it then was to get my mop and some other things to just block the rain from coming in. Maybe then I used to get like a very big rag and just put it close to the door, so the rag would absorb most of the water, and then my mop as well. But then after the rain, I would still have to start squeezing, throwing water away. In days when the rain was very heavy, it meant that I would have to stand throughout that period just mopping and ensuring that the water doesn't pass from the door into my room and just make the whole place waterlogged and stuff. So it was very annoying. So yeah, that was one of the reasons why I had to move out of my house. Another reason why I had to move out of my house was that in the place where I'm currently serving, where I'm doing my PPA, I was given accommodation. And the accommodation just came at the right time. It was at the time when I needed it. It just came. So my rent was due. Once my rent was due, and in my head I was already thinking, okay, I would need to get an apartment. I would need to move into a new apartment. And then it was time for service. I went to camp and everything, got back, and I got my PPA, and I I heard that I was going to get accommodation if I get that this particular PPA where I'm serving now. So as soon as I got the accepted, I just knew that there was no point bothering myself about accommodation. I would just get accommodated in this particular place. So I was very happy about that. So I didn't need to start looking for a new apartment and spending money and all of that. So yes, that's something I would like to talk about today, that as a couple, when you're moving in, when you come into Abuja for the sake of service, if you're coming into Abuja as a serving couple, one thing I would like to advise is that there are three things that you can do. Number one, you could either move in with family. If you have family already here, to me it doesn't make sense to start renting an apartment. Of course, if the family you have here is not, maybe it's people you'd like to stay with, that's fine. But if you already have family and the family you have here, they are quite accommodating, why not? I feel like you should, if you want to, you can move in with them so that you can save a lot of things, you can save cost. So you're not paying house rent, you're most likely not paying for food because they're going to be feeding you, I hope. Then you most likely just be spending on maybe transportation, if at all you're spending, be spending on transportation. So your feeding will be covered, your most of your bills will be covered for, right? As opposed to you getting an apartment and then paying. See, in this Abuja there are bills. There are bills. There's water bill, there's light bill, there is debt bill, depending on where you're staying. Because where I was staying, we would pay for light, we would pay for water, sometimes we pay for dirty. So there were some people that would come to empty our dustbin. So if you have dirt, people would come and then you pay them to empty your dirt. When you're staying in, just be ready to pay a lot of money, a lot of bills. You will pay bills, you will pay bills, you will pay bills. Imagine you're using your 33K to pay bills. At the end of the day, what are you going to use? How are you going to feed? How are you going to feed? You're going to drink curry without granite? You don't want to do that. So I would advise that if you're coming into Abuja, if you have family, that would be the best option. No, if you have family here, that would be beautiful. Right, another option would be to move in with a friend. Now when I say move in with a friend, I mean you get an apartment and then both parties, if you are 2 or 3, depending on what you prefer and the kind of people that you have around you, you can decide that okay, you and somebody can decide to rent an apartment together and then you split the bills, right? So you don't end up being the only one spending for the rented apartment. So you have someone that both of you are sharing the burden of the house rent. So that's another option. And obviously you should decide to get a roommate that you share same values or very similar values, just so you don't start having issues along the way. Yeah. Third option when you move into Abuja is to rent an apartment by yourself. That third option, like I said before, is a lot. I don't know if you want to go down that route, but if you want to, that's fine. If you have the money, that's fine. But normally, I would say that you should go with the other options if you have the opportunity. The other options will be better. But if the third option is like you don't have any other choice, and that's like the only option for you, then that's fine. When you're searching for an apartment in Abuja, there are a couple of things you should bear in mind. First of all, in Abuja, you're not necessarily paying for the house per se or the room or whatever. You're actually paying for location. Yes, you're paying for location in Abuja. In this Abuja, anybody that tells you that they are paying for they are paying for the location. Location determines how much you pay for a house. If you've seen my room tour, you would see that my room was really small. It was very small. That same size of apartment let me give you an example. If you get that same apartment in Maitama and you get that same apartment in a place like, let's say, Lube, believe me, the two houses will not be the same price. And it won't be the same price because of location. Now, there's a perception that people have of Maitama. That's the place where, like, a lot of people believe that that's where things are happening, that when you stay in Maitama, then you're a big boy and stuff. So there's that perception people already have of Maitama. Now, that perception is different from the one that people have of Lube. So, when you're getting my kind of apartment that I already showed you in that video, when you get that kind of apartment in a place like Maitama, be rest assured that it's going to cost more than that apartment will cost if it was in Lube. And that's just because of location, nothing more. I'm telling you, nothing more. Now, for every given location in Abuja, there is a part that has the tush part, there is a part that has the not so tush part, and there's a part that has what I call the lungus. Now, that lungu is the part that I like to call the village part of that particular area. So the lungus are the part that do not have the good roads, the fine houses. They are the part that has all the bad things. Then you have the not so tush part, which is like the middle class part of the area. Now in that area you have not so bad roads, like the roads are manageable. Then you have maybe better life, to a large extent better things than the lungus. And then you now have the tush part. The tush part is where the big people of that part of the area live. So you have beautiful houses there, you have good roads, you have better lights, you just have everything, in those kind of areas. So when you're looking for houses, this is one thing you need to keep in mind. And these things are determined by how much you're willing to spend. So if you have a lot of money to spend, then the tush part of the location you are going for maybe a one you want to go for. But if you are a copper or like me, I would advise you to go for something that is not beyond your strength. Go for something that is not beyond your strength, because you're not gonna rent house and you'll be drinking Gary. Do you understand? So I just said to put that out there. You need to consider what is important to you. So for some people, light is important to them, so they will most likely want to live in a place that has good lights. For some people, motorable roads that are very navigatable, that's their priority. So they may want to live in areas that have good roads. Like me, I didn't have where I stayed in the not so tush part. So like the middle part of where I was living, right? So that was where I stayed. And in that place, the roads were not so good. So you'd have, if you book an Uber, for example, if you book a cab, for example, they'll usually tell you that they cannot come to my house because the road that they will pass through to get to my house was not very motorable. So I would need to walk a certain distance to the part where, they'll be able to meet me. It was very annoying. It was very, very annoying. So that's one thing you need to bear in mind. If navigatable roads is important to you, or if you have a car, that's another thing. You may want to stay in a place that has good roads. Yeah, so that's one thing you should be looking out for. When I started this video, I was talking about how that you may need to move in with family if it's possible, is because you are serving for 1 year. You're going to be serving for 1 whole year. And while you are serving, there's something I've noticed about serving or about being a copper is the fact that everybody just feels that you don't have money. Like a lot of people believe that you don't have money, which is true in most cases to a large extent. So I usually tell anybody, and I tell myself too, that see, you need to make the most out of this season of your life because you won't have it again. So you have people that are always willing to help. Like I can't count the number of times I'll be on the road and then someone will just say, "Copper, come," and that's how I get free transportation to where I'm going. Sometimes people offer to pay my tea fare. Other times I get free rides. Other times I just see people wanting to pay for stuff that I bought, and it has come with a lot of benefits to a large extent. So I would say that if you're in this season of your life, make the most out of this season. Use this opportunity to make do with all the advantages that comes along with it. So if you have free accommodation, move your things to the accommodation. Like it didn't make any sense for me at this time of my life to go and spend money buying or renting an apartment, maybe because the money was available. No, it doesn't make any sense to me. instead of spending that money on house rent, I decided that come on, this money will be better used for something else, right? So if you have the opportunity, I would say that I know that not everybody will be giving accommodation, but if you have a place where they are willing to give you accommodation, make the most of it. And then use that 1 year of your life to save something. Not that this 1 year of your life you're spending all the money on things, you're spending it on rent. I know that some people do not have any other choice, they just have to do it. If you can, then you should save that money on something, especially if you're in Abuja. If you're just living with the mindset that when it's time for you to get a place, you get a place, guy, you are going to be shocked. And I don't want that for you. So because think about it, after your service here, as soon as you are done, as soon as you are no longer a copper, everybody will suddenly realize that, see, you are now an adult. I know that yes, right now people still see you as an adult, but it will become more glaring after your service here, that people will just feel like, oh, you are grown up, so you should take care of yourself. So you should, I believe that you should have something, even if it's 20,000 naira you're going to save every month, 10,000 naira, no matter how small, just save something so that when you're done serving and then maybe you need to rent an apartment, you need to move into a place on your own. When you tell somebody that, okay, I want to rent an apartment, they'll be more willing to assist you if you tell them that, okay, this is how much the rent, the place that I want to get, this is how much it is, this is how much I have. Those kind of people will be more receptive to you, they'll be more willing to help you because, okay, there's something that you already have, so they can add to what you already have. But it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense that you tell somebody, I want to rent an apartment, but you don't have anything. Like, you don't have any money. They ask you what you have, say you don't have anything. It doesn't make any sense. Even a serious person will not want to help you. They'll just feel like this one, you're not ready for life. Do you understand? So I always say save something so that you have something for your rent, especially if you want to move in on. If you want to move into an apartment on your own, you want to stay on your own, just have something. We know that yes, we are going to be millionaires in life. We know that yes, we are going to blow. We know that yes, we are going to have money. But hello, faith is not foolishness. We can have all the faith in life, but faith is not foolishness. Me too, I have faith, but let me tell you, faith is not foolishness. So as much as we would say that you have faith, as much as I like it when I see people that have faith, money is not going to drop from up. So somehow you just have to have something. You just have to be responsible. Do you understand? And one other thing I would like to say is that you need to cut your coat according to your cloth. Yes, when I moved into Abuja and I was looking for an apartment, I saw a lot of houses. There was this particular house I saw. It was so nice. It was so nice, guys. The house was, it was a new house, and it was sort of like, it was a self-contained room that was like a house. And what that means is that it was separate from other houses. Like, the room was just standing alone. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It was just on its own. It was alone in the house, and it was fenced, but it was just a single house that was a room. If that makes any sense, I don't know. But it was a very fine room, very fine. It was newly built. If I got the house, I would have been the first to live in the house. It was so beautifully painted. It was painted white. I remember I wanted the house that was painted white because I was going to be doing YouTube. I felt like, okay, I'm starting YouTube soon, so I need an aesthetically pleasing place. So it was already painted white. There was a part of the house that had wallpaper that also added to the aesthetics of the room. The bathroom had water heater. It was in town, but it was above my budget. I think the house was about 300,000 or 350k, about that. So, and the money I had was not up to that. You know, I just came into Abuja. My dad gave me money to get a place. So I really liked that apartment, and bear in mind it had all the things that I wanted. But then I didn't have the money for it, or my dad didn't give me enough money for it. He gave me something that he felt would get me something good. But then I liked the apartment, and somewhere in my mind I was thinking, okay, should I add my money to this thing to get this apartment? Should I get this apartment? And I was thinking about it and deliberating on it for a long time. And then I just came to a conclusion that, no, you see what I mean? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And why did I say it? Why didn't it make sense to me at the time? Because I was thinking about, okay, even if I'm able to pay for this house now, in 12 months from now, that's from that time, I would need to renew my rent. Now, would I have over 300,000 at that time to renew my rent? I know that we have faith though. Me, I have faith very well. But at that point, I had to be logical. Like I had to think about it. Would I have enough money to rent to renew my rent? It's not just about paying for rent. That's what a lot of people fail to realize. Yes, you can get an apartment the first time, but when you want to pay for that apartment, renew the rent the second time, would you be able to afford it? Is it something that you now you have to start begging people, please give me money to complete my rent? It doesn't make any sense. So I was thinking about it based on that. That even if I'm going to be paying for this rent, if I'm going to be renewing my rent, would it really require me to save for the whole year? Saving for the whole year for an apartment is not even the issue. It's the fact that after saving for that apartment for 1 year, all my savings would it go to just my apartment, or even after paying for that apartment, I will have more money? So when I thought about it, after paying for that apartment, it meant that I will not have any other money, like I will not have any other savings. And it didn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me that you would save for 1 whole year, you save all your money for 1 whole year and use it to pay for rent. I don't know if I'm speaking your mind, but that's just how I see it. So I'm saying that cut your coat according to your cloth. Yes, we have faith. Yes, God is going to provide. Yes, we are going to blow, but we can't afford to be reckless with our lives. We can't afford to be reckless with how we spend money. So these are things that you want to put into consideration when you're just moving into Abuja, and especially as a couple. You know that right now, except you have other sources of income, but as a couple, it's your 33K. That's the only thing you have. So if you want to decide based on that, I would say cut your coat according to your cloth. Look for an apartment that you can afford. Look for an apartment that you can afford to renew the rent. And then if it's time to renew the rent and then you have something, you have more money at that time, maybe your financial state has improved at that time, then you can go on to get a better place. I just feel like this is just something that I feel like we need to talk about. So yeah. People did not ask me for this, but it's okay. These are the reasons why I moved out of my old apartment, and this is just in an attempt to encourage you, and especially if you're a couple, this is just my little way of saying we are here. You understand? There are people that have done it before. I want to say that you shouldn't be afraid to leave whichever state you were before, because people have done it before and they've succeeded. Don't be afraid to move from where you were before into another place. You'll survive, you'll be okay. I know that people like to say that adulthood na scam, but you'll be alright. I just feel like this stage of our lives, this adulting stage of our life is just another phase, and your ability to enjoy this phase is highly determined by how you are able to make use of your resources, how you are able to make use of your resources, which includes your time, which includes your money. It just has to do with sense, sha. So yeah. That's basically it about this room tour. I hope you enjoy this talk, even though it's been um sort of like an advice session. It was just for me to talk about my room tour actually. So I wanted to talk about the fact that okay, my room was really small. Like even when I was making videos of that room, you notice that me and Hannah, it was Hannah that made the video of that room tour. I've not shown you guys Hannah before, but it was a friend that made that video. We made it together. So she was the one with the camera, and she was the one going around to film the room. you'll notice that she was the only one that could enter the kitchen to make the video of that kitchen, and she was the only one that could enter the bathroom. Even at some point, I had to take the camera and then go outside the bathroom to film the bathroom from outside the window. That's to tell you how small that place was. Like, it was really small. My apartment was really small. So that's another thing you may want to bear in mind, because me, I like space, and I don't know, you may like space too, but it doesn't mean that you would go over your budget just because you're looking for a room that has a lot of space. If you're looking for a big apartment, you either have to have a lot of money so that you can get a big apartment, or you go to a place that is not perceived to be, should I call it, the expensive part of Abuja. Go to places that are a bit more affordable, and then get big rooms, and you may not need to pay as much as you pay in those apartments that are in expensive regions. Thanks for watching my videos. I really appreciate it, and please do give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Like, subscribe, share, repost, love. See, just be likey, just be likey, just be commenting, comment, share the video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next one.